with a functional, multiple concepts, and then develop a functioning prototype. And that's what we call design thinking, which is different from research and discovery. And then we'll talk about the experiential learning of my students and how actually they competed in competitions locally, a big area of the state that we are in, and how that affects actually their education, and how that is important for all biomedical engineers to be able to compete in competitions with their graduation project or capstone project before they graduate from the universities. I'm in London today, and it looks like I'm catching a cold, so I apologize. So, students, we would like for them to work together. And there is a lot of evidence, there's evidence and a lot of publications that says that when students are working together for a long period of time, they will have improved interactions. And this is what we need from the 21st century biomedical engineers, because they have to deal with many people with different backgrounds, like physicians, nurses, business owners, as well as regulatory agencies. So we would like from them to work in interdisciplinary teams. And also their information retention becomes really better. And they will have high level of thinking skills and motivation to learn. All of these are good things. So working together is proven to be a wonderful opportunity for students. Now, for industry-sponsored projects, in biomedical engineering, it's a completely different story from mechanical and electrical. So our clients are healthcare providers. That's including hospitals and physicians and nurses. So what we did in the University of Mount Union is that we had our students to spend time in hospitals just as observers to identify challenges that healthcare providers like nurses and physicians will tell them about. They will categorize them, list them, and they will come back to the lab in order to find solutions for these problems. Now, that is how we are doing it, which means that our industry partners are healthcare providers and healthcare institutions. But in order to build this, we need to be in their space. And that's why we have something called immersion experiences, where our students actually spend time in hospitals with nurses and physicians shadowing them. And also, we are getting funding from biomedical engineering companies, medical device companies. So we are not going to have a capstone design unless it has an industry partner and we have funding from the industry for it. And the funding could be like a grant or could be a donation from the industry. And then the design thinking. As engineers, we would like our graduates to be able to design and develop. And that implies that they need to learn how to identify a need, how to speak with their client, how to make surveys with the clients. Before they come up with the designs, they need to identify a mission statement, and then they need to be able to survey, to be able to validate the functionality. So that's called design thinking, and it's an important process. So engineers, sometimes they fear that it's a big challenge to design an instrument, but if you follow the process, it means that you're going to be able to be successful in achieving that goal. Now, the last thing is research-based capstone. Biomedical engineering is a research-based discipline, and we collaborate with also researchers who have questions and needs, and then we work with them in research projects. And Mount Union is a sport institution, which means most of the students play sports. And when they play sports, different kinds of sports, they get injuries. And we have a physical therapy program. So what happened is that we are working with the physical therapy and the nursing programs at the university, which is another important thing for biomedical engineering programs, is to collaborate with healthcare provider programs in their institution. So we work with them in order to assess human performance. And that is the research-based capstones that we have been selecting so far. So we were working closely with coaches and athletes to be able to study how they can prevent injury and improve performance. So what I will show you now, some of the projects, our industry partners, how did we do the design thinking and the experiential learning, and hopefully it will be, a light, slides with pictures that can, get the idea close to each one of us. So what I will do now, I will show you three different capstone projects that we had last year. So the first one, we have a problem in the hospitals that nurses have something called alarm fatigue, which means with time they stop hearing the alarms that goes off in the hospital. There are a lot of alarms. So we started to develop wristband that has vibration and a screen for them to communicate the alarms with nurses instead of the audio. And that was one of the projects. So our inquiry-based learning, we were in the students were in the hospital with nurses, and this was the biggest problem the nurses were talking to them about. So we were able to identify the need based on inquiry, where the client is asking for the solution. Our industry partner was the new, Alliance Community Hospital, and the selection and design thinking were followed. In identifying the need, we created 10 concepts and we selected one of them. This is just the first prototype. We have a couple of more versions of these prototypes, but we are holding them back from the public because we are filing a patent for this project. Then we had another project, which is ACL tears, which is one of the ligaments in the knee. And because we have a lot of athletes